Hello and welcome to this video titled Identifying Your Own IP Information. In this video I'm going to be showing you how to view your own IP address, subnet mask, and what default gateway your device has been using. And I'm going to show you how to do it based on whether you're using Windows operating system, Linux operating system, or the Mac operating system. So that is my goal with this video. Let's start with viewing IP information in Windows. So first of all, here I'm going to give you the steps textually, and then I'm going to do a demonstration of it. So there's always multiple ways to accomplish this. One way is to open the DOS window in Windows, enter a particular command called ipconfig. Let's take a look and see what that does. So here I have a Windows 10 device. So Windows 10, you can just click on the little Windows icon right there, and then you can just type in command, and that'll get you to your command prompt. And then from there, you just type one word all together, no spaces, ipconfig. You can see that right there. And then when you hit the enter key on your keyboard, you will see your IP information. So we can see here that this is the IP address of my adapter. We can see the subnet mask that my adapter was given, and we can see the router, otherwise known as the default gateway, that I'm going to send my packets to if they ever have to go to destinations that are not on my network. So that's one way. Probably the best way, because also with this exact same command, if you want to dig into it a little bit more, you can also type ipconfig / and the word all, and now you get all kinds of nitty-gritty information. We're not going to go over all the details of this, but not only do you see your IP address, your mask, and your default gateway, you can also see other things like the IP address of the server that gave you your IP address. You can see the DNS server you're pointing to that's going to resolve your websites into IP addresses and a whole host of other things. So once again, that command to get there was ipconfig / all. But just for basic IP information, just ipconfig by itself. Or if you're a fan of using the GUI, you don't have to use the DOS prompt at all. And that gets us to this other thing. We could go into our settings, open up network and internet, select our network adapter. In my case, it's going to be Ethernet. Go to the network and sharing center, and then click on Ethernet followed by details. Now I know that's a lot of steps right there. Let's just go ahead and go right through it. So here in Windows 10, I'd click on the Windows icon, there's settings right there towards the bottom left corner. I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to click here for network and internet. Now in my case, I'm using my Ethernet. So I'm going to click on that. Now from here, I'm going to click on network and sharing center. And then if you notice right here, by where it says connections Ethernet, you can click on that. It says I have IPv4 connectivity. See, if I didn't, it would be like IPv6. See how IPv6 says no network access? If I didn't have an IP address, I'd see the exact same thing under IPv4 connectivity. And now to actually see it, I can just click on details. And there we see the exact same stuff we saw with the ipconfig command in DOS. We see my IP address, we see my subnet mask, my default gateway, and a variety of other things. So those are two basic ways that you can obtain your IP information in a Microsoft Windows environment. Now if you're using Windows 7 or something else, the steps are very similar. Now, what if you're using a Mac, like I am right now? How do you see it there? Well, there's once again several ways we can do it. I'm going to show you the graphical way using the GUI in a Mac to view your information. So you're going to go to your system preferences, you're going to select your network icon, and then right there, your IP address and subnet mask are going to be displayed. So let's go to that. We don't need him anymore. Okay, so we're going to go to System Preferences, the thing that looks like a flywheel or a gear wheel there. We're going to go to Network. And actually there's one step that I skipped. So right here, yeah, where is it? Where's the address? And you can't see it. So now we have to actually click on Advanced and TCP IP. And there it is. That's what we're looking for. So this gives us our IP address, subnet mask, and even our default gateway that we're using. So using the graphical approach on a Mac, you'd start with system preferences and work your way down from there. All right, what if we were on something that was running Linux? How would we get the exact same information? Well, in Linux, we're going to open up the terminal, or maybe you're already in the command line. And from there, we're going to type a simple command, ifconfig. And with ifconfig, we'll see our IP address and subnet mask. So let's take a look and see what that looks like. So here is my terminal. I'll zoom in a little bit more so you can see that. ifconfig. And you might have multiple adapters, so you might have to scroll through this to find the adapter that you're actually using. Many times it's going to be EN0. That's probably the first one you should look for. And it'll say INET. Notice there's INET 6, that's for IP version 6. And there's this INET, which is Internet, which is short for IP version 4. And here you can see what my IP version 4 address is and what my mask is. Now, unfortunately, in Linux here, the net mask is displayed as a hexadecimal number. In this video, I'm not going to go over hexadecimal. If you're not familiar with hexadecimal, I would recommend searching on INE. We do have other videos that go into the details of how to count and convert from hexadecimal into decimal. But you do want to know that it is there. Now, how do I find out what my default gateway is? Because in this particular case, I'm not seeing that. I see my IP address, my mask, and that is it. So to get your default gateway, there's another command we can use. Of course, there's multiple ways you can do it. The command one way is the netstat -rn. Let me zoom in on that. Netstat -rn. This is going to show you your routing table, your IPv4 and IPv6 routing table. And if we scroll up towards the beginning of this output, we don't really care about IPv6 right now. Netstat -rn, right here, default. And here's my gateway. So that is the IP address of my router that's in my network that I use to send packets to remote destinations. And just one more way, just to give you another alternative in Linux that you can see, is you can do the command ipconfig. Hey, wait a second, Keith, wasn't that a command you showed us in Windows? Yes, you can do ipconfig get packet and then your interface. Oops. All right. Zoom in on that. So ipconfig get packet, and then whatever the interface was. So if we scroll up here, if I still have it, yeah, see EN0 right there, how I discovered. So when I did the ifconfig command and I just looked through that, I found that EN0 had my IPv4 information. So now in this command down here, if I type in EN0, now I get a lot of good stuff. ipconfig get packet EN0, and I can see here's my IP address. Here's the server that gave me that IP address. Here's my subnet mask. Ah, now I don't have to worry about viewing it in hexadecimal. It actually displays as dotted decimal, which is a lot easier. Here's my default gateway. So that was ipconfig, get packet, and then the name of your interface. All right, so that, my friends, concludes this video on how to get your IP address using various different operating systems. Thank you for watching.